I want to talk about some keto diet mistakes that I learned from doing carnivore. Some of the things I was doing wrong on keto, I didn't really realize until I started doing carnivore. So this will give you some insight on that topic. So some of the things I was doing wrong when I was eating keto is I was eating a lot of nuts. So nut butters, nuts, these things really didn't digest well. They kind of gave me a stomach ache and they were very addictive. So I love peanut butter, I love peanuts. So whenever I would eat those, it would be very hard for me to stop. So once I cut those out when I'm going carnivore, it really helped me a lot, helped my digestion, and it helped me with snacking. And so I feel like that helped me lose a lot of weight. Another mistake that I was doing when I was eating keto was being afraid of protein. So, you read that your protein is going to turn to sugar and you're going to have gluconeogenesis and you're going to mess up your ketones and then you're going to be never burning fat. Well, what I found since doing carnivore is that I can eat an abundance of protein. Of course, I always eat fat with my protein, or I just eat fatty meats, cuts, but that was really not helping me at all because I was getting too much fat and not enough protein when I was doing keto, and it slowed down my weight loss. And so I really think that's a myth that is perpetuated a lot in keto. The third mistake that I was making when I was doing keto is that I was eating too many vegetables. I was just loading up the vegetables, and sometimes I ate too many and I wouldn't really count my carbs, and because they were just low starch vegetables, I thought it was okay, and they were really, really upsetting my digestion. I was always bloated, so eating all those vegetables really, really hurt my stomach, and it just made me miserable. I was eating them all in the name of fiber, also to be full. I was adding a lot of fat to the vegetables, so I was making soups, things like that, and I was probably getting a little too much carbohydrate with my vegetables because I thought, well, this will fill me up and I won't be eating other things that might make me gain weight. So, it's a slippery slope there with the vegetables, and you have to be careful about the carbs, but also, how are the vegetables digesting for you? Are they hurting your stomach? Are you getting gas and bloating every time you eat them? Are you burping? Are you getting heartburn? Sometimes these vegetables can be a hidden culprit of digestive pain, and we don't even realize it until we remove them. And that's something I did on carnivore, and immediately I dropped weight when I started doing carnivore. So it's something to think about. Another mistake I was doing when I was doing keto is I was eating a lot of fat bombs and treats, a lot of sweets and treats. And these things were very high in calories, very high in fat. They weren't satisfying at all because the sugar in them, even though it was fake sugar or stevia or erythritol, it triggered that response, especially if most people who do keto have food issues, food addictions, whatever you want to call it. And when you eating that sweet thing, even though it might not be real sugar, it triggers that thing in your brain that makes you want more and more and more and more. So every day I was eating dark chocolate, or maybe Lily's chocolate, or a Zevia, or some kind of Kavita, or some kind of drink that was sweetened, and then I would want more and more and more. So after every meal, I was wanting some kind of treat, and that was just adding a lot of calories and a lot of fat to my daily diet, and I wasn't really ever tapping into the fat on my body. So that was another big mistake. And once I went carnivore, that went away completely. And now I don't have any cravings for artificial sweeteners or natural sweeteners or anything like that anymore. And it's just amazing and so freeing because I don't even think about dessert. And I've always been a dessert person. So to have that monkey off my back has been amazing. Another big mistake that I was making on keto that I learned about only after I started doing carnivore was electrolytes. I never really paid attention to them when I was doing keto because I always felt fine. But then when I started doing carnivore, I didn't feel so fine, and the keto flu was intense. And that meant that my body was getting rid of electrolytes too fast. So I wasn't replenishing them well enough with salt. So what I do now is I keep a little thing of salt in my purse all the time, and I just put this is the Redmond salt. I really love this one. You can get it in my Amazon shop below. So I just put that on my tongue. You wouldn't believe how good it tastes. This has all the right balance of electrolytes that we need, and I need this so much more when I'm on carnivore. And maybe I did on keto, but I just didn't realize it. So definitely make sure your electrolytes are in check when you're doing carnivore or keto. One of the big mistakes that I made when I was doing keto was eating too much dairy. So when you have Hashimoto's, dairy can be a big irritant. It can cause inflammation. I cut it out many times, but sometimes, you know, when you get into keto, you just hear about dairy all the time. There's a lot of recipes and you just kind of think, well, I can handle it. So you start eating it all the time, and you know, you might just be kind of plugging your ears about what it's causing in your body. So when I went carnivore, I got another chance to really eliminate the dairy, and that really helped my results on carnivore. And so I think it probably would help anybody who's doing keto too, to really cut back on that dairy. And now what I do is just eat ghee, and that has the dairy proteins removed. And if you haven't ever cut out dairy, I know it can be hard because it's very addictive. So just give it a shot and you will feel better, I promise. And the last thing I want to talk about is carb creep. So you might not realize when you're eating a lot of nuts and a lot of veggies, these things all have carbs and they creep up. It's very hard for me to count carbs and macros, and that's one of the things I love about carnivore is you don't have to do that anymore. You don't have to worry about that. I've been dieting since I was a little kid, and you know, it really triggers all my buttons when you say you have to count this and that and all these things. So that's why I love carnivore. You can eat as much as you want. You don't have to count your protein. You don't have to count your fats. And you can have 0 carbs basically the whole day, and you don't have to think about it because you're not eating anything that has carbs, just meat, fat, and water, or iced tea or coffee if you're choosing those things. And it's so much easier. I don't have to worry, am I eating 19 carbs, 30 carbs, 25 carbs? I mean, it can make you go crazy. How many net carbs? It's just maddening. So that is one of the things that really is a great freedom that I found in carnivore, and a mistake I was making on keto. So to sum up, you know, you want to make sure that you are avoiding sweeteners. You are not being afraid of protein. Protein is very satiating, more so than fat, especially for me. Don't be afraid of that protein. Just don't worry about it. Try a higher protein approach for just a little bit, and I bet you will find that you're feeling much better. And I mean, of course, I mean with fat, but don't eat your fat from fat bombs and stuff like that. Eat them from meat. So that is a great thing that I learned from doing carnivore. Also, nuts have a lot of carbs. They have a lot of calories. They are very addictive. So avoid your nuts. Also, veggies. Veggies can really be something where they cause a lot of digestive distress. They can cause a lot of inflammation because they're hard to digest. And they have a lot of carbs, and you might not realize all the carbs that they have, and the fiber can just be a big problem for a lot of people. So definitely cut back on your veggies and you will feel amazing, much better than before. And don't worry about, you know, needing veggies all the time because there's really no need for them. A lot of the veggies we have weren't even around a long time ago, so they're just kind of made up. All right, and then there's carb creep. So when you're on carnivore, you don't have to worry about your carbs. They're taken care of because there's none. So you don't have to count everything, and that's a great benefit of carnivore. So make sure you're also checking your electrolytes, keeping salt with you at all times. You can also drink bone broth. That really helps to keep your electrolytes in balance. And try giving up dairy for just like 30 days and see how it affects your results. And you will be happy when the scale starts moving again. So if you find this video helpful, make sure and subscribe. You can get on my newsletter down below, and I will send you out a notification when my carnivore ebook comes out. It is going to tell you how to get started and all the great tips and tricks that I found to help my health and get started on a carnivore diet. So thanks for watching. I really appreciate it. Please share this video with a friend and let me know down in the comments what else you want me to make a video about. I really appreciate it. See you next time. Bye bye.